Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel and today we will discuss the situation in Ukraine on the 9th of August. Today we have a lot of very interesting updates, so let's start. And today we're going to start with Crimea, with this small town on the west part of Crimea, this west part, with small town by the name of Novofyodorovka, this one. And today we're going to discuss this airport, this one. As you know, somewhere at 3 p.m. and 20 minutes, there were a number of explosions in this town. And of course, now we are very interested what did happen in this town. And there are few versions of that what happened. The first version was, and the Russians military expert told we can say at 4 p.m. and even earlier that was attack of the West HIMARS systems. Let's calculate the distance from Odessa, let's say, towards this area, and as you can see, there are around 277 kilometers from Odessa if the Ukrainians attacked this area from Odessa. Another area the Ukrainians could use for this attack is Chuguyev, this one. And there is 220 kilometers. So as you can see, that's not very far, and the West countries has such weapon that the Ukrainians can use to attack this area. Furthermore, we heard that the Ukrainians were asking the West countries to supply them and to give them this weapon. But the thing is that later, somewhere at 4 p.m. and later, we got more and more updates from the locals that there were no rockets in the sky. Because we know that before any rocket strike, there should be a rocket in the sky. And people were saying that there were no updates, no video, nothing that could prove this theory that attack was done by the HIMARS rockets. Another version, as soon as people understand that there were not rockets in the sky, another version was that it was some kind of commandos operation, that Ukrainians managed to send some forces here, and those forces somehow managed to attack this airport, this depot of these warehouses, and that's why there was a lot of explosions. Furthermore, if you remember, on the 1st of August, there was a big great holiday in Russia, it calls Naval Day. And if you remember, there was another attack during this period. The Ukrainians attacked the capital, Sevastopol, as far as I remember, and they attacked some naval authorities in this town. And they used drones for these purposes, and they dropped some bomb, and using these drones they managed to kill a few people, few civilians or a few military persons in this area. So the people in this area, the military experts, suppose that maybe that was some kind of attack of drone who got to this airport, and after that this drone dropped some weapons, some bombs and something like this. And later we got official version from the Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation. They told us that that was some kind of mistake, that during the some kind of regrouping and moving some stuff from one depot to another, there was an explosion, and after that the ammo detonate one by one. Every ammo depot in this area detonated one by one. So this is the official version of Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation. But later, some Ukrainian sources started saying that that was their attack, that was their planned attack, and that later we got another update that this attack was prepared by the United Kingdom intelligence with help of Ukrainian forces. So for now, there is no understanding what did really happen there. But Anyway, we got by this evening, let's say by the 8 p.m. of local time, we got report that a lot of people from Ukraine, from authorities, like from parliament, from the top level authorities in Ukraine, decided to leave their jobs, not like to quit, to dismiss or something like this. They moved into bunkers and they stretched their authorities just on purpose, because they understand that if this attack was planned by United Kingdom intelligence with help of Ukrainians, everybody understands that the Russians soon are going to return with their answer, with their revenge, and their revenge is going to be very powerful. Even there was a report that even Zelensky left his apartments, and according to the safe, because of to be on the safe side, he moved to a bunker and nobody knows for how long he is going to planning to stand there. So this is the situation about Crimea. So let's follow. But I understand if the Russians are planning, if we see some answer, some great big attack, some powerful attack from the Russian side, that means that something happened there, and maybe that this attack against this airport, military airport, was planned and prepared by the Ukrainians. So let's see and let's follow the situation. It's very interesting. And now the important updates are coming from our Donetsk, Solidar, from the east flank of Donbas Arc operation, from this area. If we are talking about the south of this area, in the Donetsk area, the Russians cracked Peski finally. Maybe there is still some blocks that is still under Ukrainians' control on the north part, but anyway, the Russians, for 100%, at least they're saying this, they're cracked this territory entirely. They cleared this area, and they're saying that they have entered this town, Pervomaiskaya. So the Russians developed their offensive operation, and they started offensive operation in Pervomaiskaya. And this is very important town. This town is very large, so by taking this cross with roads means that you have already entered Pervomaiskaya. It doesn't mean that the Russians are somewhere there. They're just on the suburbs, on the edge of this town. If you take a look at the Russian sources map, you're gonna understand the better situation where exactly the Russians in Peski. This one. This is the cross. So the Russians maybe entered these small villages, these small houses and so on, and now they're fighting there. And the Russians are saying that they're moving towards the west part of Pervomaiskaya, towards this bridge, this one. On this map, if we take a look at this map, this is Pervomaiskaya, they're moving in this direction. They need to take this bridgehead. This bridge, of course, we understand that Ukrainians are going to detonate and blow this bridge anyway, but it won't stop the Russians, it just will slow down, because according to the sources and information I got from, the Russians are planning to cross these rivers, these water reservoirs in this area, and they want to establish some bridgehead in this area by taking Peski entirely and by taking Pervomaiskaya. This is the main goal. And as soon as the Russians are able to cross this river in this area, they will be able to start their offensive operation in direction of Berdichi, in this direction. And from the side of Verkhnikaretskaya, this one that located on the northeast part of Avdiivka, the Russians will continue their offensive operation on this bridgehead in direction of Berdichi as well. So this is the plan, and this is the plan of encirclement of Avdiivka. So this is the situation, how it's developed, and what are we going to see in the next few weeks, because this source told us that the Russians are planning to complete this encirclement in the next 3 weeks. So this is the plans, and this is exactly what they're going to do in the next 3 weeks with Avdiivka. If we're talking about the Marinka, there are still heavy clashes on the south part. The Russians are moving. They controlled a lot of this territory. There are more and more updates about the territory that the Russians are taking. The development in this area is not so is not so good as in Peski, but anyway, the Russians are moving in this direction as well. For now, this area is not so important as Peski. The main idea by attacking Marinka and by attacking Krasnogorovka in this area is just to fix Ukrainians and not to allow them to use and manipulate with their reserves that can be used in Peski. That they, of course, the Ukrainians, if there were no attack in this area, the Ukrainians would take the forces from Marinka and Krasnogorovka and they would move them towards Peski and Pervomaiskaya. But for now, they are not able to do this because there are heavy clashes in these two towns. Another important update are coming from the Bakhmut and Seversk area. As we discussed yesterday, the Ukrainians are moving their forces from the north, from Seversk towards Bakhmut, just with one purpose, to stop the Russians' breakthrough. Because more and more sources are saying that the Russians broke the defense line between Bakhmut and Solidar, and that this entire area is collapsing. If we are talking about the territory progress, there is not much, but these progress are very important. If you remember, during the previous days, the Russians announced that they entered the east part of Bakhmut, and they're now heavy clashes in the area on the street of Patrica Lumumbi, this area. As you can see, the West Source map, by the way, was updated. You see this? And now the West Source map are showing that the Russians are very close to Bakhmut, but the Russians are saying that they entered this town, this east part of this town. Furthermore, today we got one important update, that the Russians entered this plant and that they cleared this. It's a champagne plant. It's Artyomovsk champagne plant. So the Russians, let's mark this area just for better understanding. There were no updates about the south part of this industrial zone, about this plant, but according to the Russians, as far as I understand, they managed to take control over this area. This one. So the area that located on the north part, from the street of Patrica Lumumbi, this one. There were no update about the south, but anyway, that's a lot, and this is a very big progress. Furthermore, today we got, by this evening, before I started to record this video, the Russian sources told us that the Russians, not even the Russians, the Ukrainian military authorities included some data in their report, and the Ukrainians are saying that the Russians, that there was some storm attempts towards Podgorodnya, this one. As you can see, this town is very far from this area. So I suppose that in this entire area between Podgorodnya, Pokrovskaya, the south of Bakhmutskaya, this is the gray zone. And I suppose that even the Russians control this area, and they have bigger presence in this area than the Ukrainians have. Furthermore, if we're talking about this plant Knauf, we discussed this plant many times in the previous videos. Let's just take a look at this small plant on this territory map, this one. As you can see, the Russian source map has been updated. They have moved the grain line, and today we got report that the Russians took entire control over this plant and that they managed to establish control over a few streets that located on the north part from this plant. So just softly I will mark the territory that is under Russian control, this one. Furthermore, some Russian sources are saying that the Russians controls not just the area between these two rivers, that they also have some control over the north part from this Knauf plant. So the Russians are cracking the middle part, the area between Bakhmut and the south of Ukraine and the Seversk. There were no updates from Seversk. There are still artillery duels. The Russians are trying to crack. They reduced their pressure because they were forced to move a lot of forces from Seversk towards Donetsk, towards Bakhmut, and towards, of course, the south of Ukraine, towards Kherson. And if we are talking about the south, we know that there is a difference between the West sources map and the Russian sources map. According to the Russians, they established control over Gladasovo and Travnevo. And now the Russians are trying to crack Akadema, and also there was a report in the Ukrainian military authorities that the Russians managed to break through, finally they managed to break through the defense line of Ukrainians near Vershina, and I suppose that even maybe this evening we're going to receive a report that Vershina also has fallen, and now there are very heavy clashes around Zaitsevo and Veselaya Dolina. So the Russians are attacking, as you can see, Bakhmut using the broad line tactics. They are not attacking just with one line from Pokrovska towards Bakhmut. They're attacking with broad front line, in 30 kilometers front line from the south, from Gladasovo, Travnevo towards Solidar, and that's a lot. And as we can see, they have some success. So I suppose that maybe even this week we are going to see the real clashes inside of Bakhmut, at least on the east side of the Bakhmut river, this river. And as you can see, this town is split in two parts. So I suppose that maybe the east side is going to fall during the next even week. Maybe by the end of this week we're going to see and that the Russians established control over a big part of this town. Now, if we are talking about the report of Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation, they announced that they also achieved success during these days. And if we are talking about the numbers, yes, there was a report about the 14th Mechanized Brigade. if we take a look at the map of this position, we won't find the 14th Mechanized Brigade in this area. The main base of this Mechanized Brigade is near Kherson area, this one, but they have sent few battalions to the east side of Ukraine to support the Ukrainians on this front line, and as a result of that attack, this brigade lost around 340 soldiers, and the Russians also noted that this battalion lost its combat capability, and a lot of forces from this battalion just left their position, so we can say that there were cases of desertion. Another important update, that the Russians attacked some Ukrainian depot in Uman. This is a small town in the middle of Ukraine. As far as I understand, this town is located on the south from Kiev, in the middle of Ukraine. And as a result of that attack, the Russians managed to destroy the HIMARS depot, and they managed to destroy around 300 of HIMARS rockets. So we can say that's a lot. Of course, that's a lot, and it might help the Russians well. If we're talking about Kherson, there is no updates from this area. If you remember, the Russians started some offensive operation from Snegirovka towards Nikolaev, towards Belozerovka, towards Pervomaiska. There were no updates about any progress, about any territory expansion in this area. But anyway, as you can see, the Russians announced about their counteroffensive operation a day ago or 2 days ago, and today we got what we got in the biggest military report in Crimea. This is one of the airports that serves as the main supply center of naval fleet, of naval group, with calibers and so on, and of course of Kherson. You know that these days the Ukrainians told that now they cancelled any offensive operation in the south, that they are not planning to do this anymore. Then we got report about the Russians' offensive operation, and today we got the information about destroying of this airport. So I suppose that soon we are going to see a very interesting picture in the south of Ukraine, because this airport was very important, and because of the fact that we got information that this operation was prepared by the United Kingdom intelligence. Also, they provided much more pictures and positions of airports in Crimea, and as far as I understand, and according to sources we have, maybe soon we are going to see more and more such operations of Ukrainians in Crimea. I'll repeat that the Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation are saying that it wasn't attack of HIMARS rocket, or it wasn't any kind of commandos operation. It was just a mistake of soldiers or who is serving in these airports. But anyway, we need to understand that the Russians couldn't say anything else. It's obviously that they don't want to have panic in Crimea. They don't want to panic. They don't want to make these people in Crimea to think that the Ukrainians are able to use HIMARS to attack this island, or that they are able to send their commanders and to do these terrorist attacks on this island. So that's why, of course, we understand why did they say that. But anyway, we're gonna understand about the situation in Crimea only in case if the Russians are going to do some powerful attack during the next few days, because it will be their response to this attack, and then we will understand that it wasn't any kind of just a mistake of somebody. It was an operation prepared by the Ukrainians. But if there would be no attack from the Russians, that means that maybe yes, it was some kind of a mistake, because sometimes it happens. I suppose that if we're talking about the Moscow ship, it also was someone's mistake that this ship got so close to the coast, and that's why the Ukrainians got possibility to attack the ship by the Harpoon rockets or something like this. It also was a mistake of somebody's mistake. So it is the same mistake, might be. And that's it for today. Military Summary channel reminds you that we condemn any violence in Ukraine. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Thank you. Bye bye.